So Aditi, thank you so much for spending some time again today. I know that you wanted to get our point of view of what we really think about a modern marketing platform. So I'm going to kind of go through a couple things. Again, love the opportunity. Thank you for that. You know, and I think we're trying to go set a process around evaluating modern marketing systems. So let's kind of go through kind of our point of view, and then we can work on some next steps.
Sounds great.
Sounds great. So a lot of our discussion was really around how do we help really evolve into it from taking from what you currently have today and evolve into a modern marketing system. And really, what's really exciting is that marketing systems have evolved tremendously since I've been in this industry. And have you ever watched the TV show Mad Men?
I have.
Isn't that like a great show? I love that show because it captures kind of the genre of like modern marketing in the 60s and transforming that. Really was like mass advertising with brands through print and TV, right? It was a pretty cool show, but if you kind of were to put it in today's genre, it would be dramatically different. So I think with the evolution of things like hyper-personalization and those unique experiences and how to become more intelligent, that show would be very different, and I think you would call it from Mad Men to kind of Math Men, right? Where you're really evolving a lot of different technologies like artificial intelligence and bots and things of that nature to have that unique, hyper-personalized one-on-one experience. So to give you our point of view a little bit about how we kind of view that modern marketing ecosystem, I want to talk to you about a couple key pillars. So when we look at this, we look at three key pillars. One is, do you know your customer? The second is, do you personalize with intelligence? And the third really is, are you engaging in all the right channels? And think about that. There's very different channels than there are today. So let's start with knowing the customer. And I really want to appeal to like what your job is, because it's really more from a how does technology really help the business. So really about knowing the customers really starts with the concept of really knowing your data. Okay? And it's more than just collecting data arbitrarily and how you're collecting data, but it's really more about how do you actualize this data. We think of data in really three key buckets. First-party data, second-party data, third-party data. So first-party data is data that you own. It's in your CRM, Salesforce. It's data in your Service Cloud, Salesforce. It's also data that you're collecting individually from your other systems. So obviously you get that. Second-party data is actually partners' other first-party data. How can you use their data in an anonymized fashion to leverage more of the insights? And third-party data, as you know, is data that you're collecting from all these other sources to augment your first-party data. Really, the whole concept really is to get to really from an unknown state to that known state, okay? So three companies come to mind that are doing a really good job with this different type of data, and I'll explain who they are. So one is a company that I love to really talk about is Live Nation. The reason why I think of Live Nation is, like Intuit, it's a brand that everyone knows. It's dealing with millions and millions of people, right? And it's something that we interact with all the time, just like you're interacting with TurboTax. So Live Nation, you purchased a concert ticket recently, knows everything about you. Their whole concept is, how do I make this an amazing experience when you're planning for the show, when you're at the show, and after the show. So things like before the show, like maybe I'll offer you parking passes because you're driving to the concert. When you're after the show, because maybe you're a high value customer, maybe I'll offer you a upgrade in your ticket seats if they're available, or something kind of unique to make that a great experience that's unique and special to you. Or maybe because I know your profile and I know a certain genre, maybe you're going to like a concert like the Dave Matthews Band who's playing next week at the Shoreline. And since you like those type of shows, maybe you can go to the Counting Crows coming up at the end of December and cross-sell that. So really, really exciting stuff and how Live Nation really drives revenue. Another company that you're probably familiar with is Hotels.com and how they leverage Live's third-party data. So unlike Live Nation, they don't know you as well. And they purchase data to really talk about, for example, I want to know about millennials that potentially want to go on a vacation in the Caribbean, during spring break because that's what appeals to them. So how do I have that campaign? And if I have some of that first party data, how do I combine that for a unique experience? By combining the third party data with the first party data, they've seen a 3x increase in conversion rate. Pretty amazing. Second party data is something that companies are just finally getting a hold of, and it's a unique differentiator that Salesforce really has at the end of the day. We're the largest provider of second party data. So companies like Amazon are actually first of all, in a trusted and a scalable manner, are sharing some of their data about certain segments to some of their partners like L'Oreal. And what they do is they share a segment to L'Oreal to do a promotion to bring them back into Amazon website to purchase that. Pretty exciting stuff. So if you think about what you guys do for your business, imagine that Intuit shares data, for example, with Zillow, or Zillow shares data for Intuit. And your whole profile as a customer is different. When I'm single and now I'm married, I'm going to get ready to buy a house. My tax things are changing. Maybe because of that insight, I'll provide the Intuit TurboTax Live, professional agent, which is a value-added service you could sell. You're able to take that kind of data because of that insight to sell additional services. Pretty exciting. So again, we do that at such tremendous trust because we have things anonymized, but at tremendous scale. In fact, our DMP really does this first, second, and third party data at tremendous scale. They are synchronizing 12 terabytes every 15 minutes. Tremendous. It's pretty exciting. So once you know your data, then what are you going to do with it? You have to personalize it. And you know that all customers are not the same. Okay? In fact, because we've gone through this evolution of marketing, customers really expect more because we've been sharing data for a long time. They expect a different experience. In fact, 76% of customers really expect that experience. And more importantly, 79% of customers equate the experience of what you're doing with your brand. So you may have a great features and benefits of TurboTax or QuickBooks, but if you don't have a great personalized experience, you dilute your brand. So it's really important to hyper-personalize. So people are expecting it, and people really equate that to your features. The problem is, and you admit this to yourself with our discovery calls, it's really hard to personalize, and it's really hard to personalize at scale. The whole concept of personalizing or orchestrating that is really, really difficult. Sure, you're able to do some heavy lifting, but when you start talking about millions and millions of taxpayers, and they're all different, how do you really personalize at scale is really, really difficult. You're talking about being the engine to small businesses, millions and millions of small businesses, really, really difficult. When should I personalize a person who just has payroll, then I want account payable and account receivable? The only way to really do this at scale is really AI, okay? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, taking all those segments and concepts and devices and understanding what is the best combination to really personalize. So when we think about doing this, we're really thinking about managing the right offer, the right message, the right content with really at the right time. So different things like triggers. Hopefully you can see that. So currently right now, I'm going to switch this up a little bit. You currently have Adobe and you have WordPress. Okay, so you have the content. Let's leverage the content of that. That also is a more challenge. How do I, as a customer who both is interested in TurboTax and QuickBooks, and I have different content, how am I really combining those to have a personalized area? So we can take this, and with our capabilities like Interaction Studio, is able to take that content and trigger this to the right event. What is the right offer at the right time on the right device, right? Really, really exciting stuff. Leveraging the stuff that you have like Adobe and WordPress with our capabilities to really drive that. Cool? Make
Awesome.
sense?
That's fantastic.
All right, so you know your customer, you're personalizing. Well, guess what? That's really, really great. This sounds like a great email campaign, but you have to do more than that. People expect more than an email campaign. First of all, you have your website, right? These, what I call table stakes. Got to do this in order to really be in the dance. So obviously those are some aspects of your channels, but you have emerging channels that you really need to execute on. First of all, you have a mobile channel, right? You have different channels that you really need to seize upon, like social. So you have things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. LinkedIn really, really important for your QuickBooks business and your professionals. That's really important. You have things actually when you look at your website around actually your e-commerce. How do I tie all those things together? And then you have the completely new type of emerging channels, such as, you know, the thing that I have at home that I sometimes wonder why I have is Alexa, right? That's really transforming how we're integrating this whole voice personal assistants, whether it's Alexa, whether it's Google, whether it's Siri, whole new different paradigm. You even have things, for example, on autonomous cars, right? That's going to be a whole new way to interact with your customers. So, for example, if they are driving to work, they have their display dashboard, there's a great way to capture that kind of data. And if they're not driving, they're just doing work in their car, that's going to be really the whole UI of the future. So how do you capture that? So imagine if you have, for example, you're starting a campaign with an SMS message, you do a great email campaign, they go to the website, and then you have a journey. How do you do all these things? We can do a personalized journey based on all the things of knowing and personalizing your data. And why does this really matter to you at the end of the day? Because you're taking this unknown customer with all this data, you're making them known, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're making that person or those group of people an advocate. Okay? And so in order to really do this at scale, because scale has been like a really important thing for Intuit, is you start with that and you need to leverage an integrated platform. So currently right now, a lot of that is within Salesforce, things that you currently already have. You currently have Sales Cloud, your CRM. You currently already have Service. You're starting to use communities, right? You take that integrated aspect, and you add in marketing as that integrated framework. And then you can also do things, add in your unique systems to combine those things, okay? And we have integration capabilities with MuleSoft, which you're using. And you take those things with this known data, this personalized data, and at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you take that known customer and you replicate those people to lookalikes, high value customers, which are really, really exciting for you to do. So what does this buy me at the end of the day? So kind of draw this whole thing. This whole thing is interconnected. I have such a big, gigantic dashboard here. It's amazing. It's so awesome. But at the end of the day, what this is really doing when you have this type of environment, you're having a huge ROI. So right now you have like different solutions in marketing right now. And you have these, what I call the old Intuit. These are marketing platforms. And you have a whole bunch of those. By integrating this into a united profile, our customers are actually seeing a 26% increase in ROI. Dramatic, okay? When you think about having these all integrated to reducing complexity, our customers are also getting a 41% increase in productivity. Amazing. What does that really mean also around productivity? Is that they're driving better customer experiences to increase ROI. For example, if your sales agents have the data and you have an unhappy customer and they can help a customer in the moment and then offer them a solution, an evaluated solution to sell them, you're increasing their productivity, you're making those customers happy, those employees happy to really drive customer success, right? And what you really see at the end of the day is a 3x increase in engagement. Pretty exciting, okay? Last concepts I'll kind of just touch upon around scale. So we talked about trust and scale. That's our number one really value at Salesforce. And that's been something that you've been drilling to me about scale. First of all, we do, from a scaling perspective, 500 billion emails on an annual basis. Tremendous. On the social side, we do 100 billion social posts on an annual basis. Think about that. We do, on all these different different channels, 5 billion and counting, because they're always increasing. Really tremendous scale. And when you combine those interactions here, it's about 2.5 trillion transactions on an annual basis that you can go ahead and personalize on. Okay, all this combined, and I ran out of room, is really what we call relationships at scale. So I look forward to really driving down and going into this more detail, but hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
It does. It was great. Thank you, Mike.